Mellow greetings, everybody. My name is James. I'm from the internet. Today, we are going to be talking about the police state. Now, I know that there are currently no cities in America that are engulfed in flames and completely shut down by protests by, those pesky Black Lives Matter people or the radical left. But that's exactly why we're going to talk about the police state today. There's a large problem within the Democratic voter base. Not all, but a decent amount of people are under this delusion that once Joe Biden comes into office, because Trump is gone, everything is going to, quote, return to normal. And this is where I want to remind everybody on the political left in the Democratic Party that normal under Obama was a DOJ that did next to nothing, barely leaned on police departments at all when shit got out of hand, and solely interjected themselves in all of these protests to help city governments lean on people and make them more militarized, to punish them more and to make them more afraid to come out. That's the return to normalcy that the majority of the political left is so gosh darn in love with right now. The other reason we're going to talk about the police state right now, while there's nothing ludicrous going on out there, is because every time there is a high-profile killing by the police of somebody, normally an unarmed black person, cities become embroiled in chaos. And then people go, damn, we really need to talk about what's causing all these problems. And all of the talking heads come down from the right, and all the elected representatives from the GOP, they all come out and they go, hey, this isn't the time to talk about this. We should talk about this later when calmer heads will prevail. And then what happens is a year down the road, when that rage has dissipated and organizers of protests are in jail and other people have gone back to their lives, then those people crawl out from their holes and go, now we're going to have a conversation. And this is why nothing changes. The whole schedule and time cycle of how police incidences are dealt with is purposeful by design. This thing is on. What police body cam footage from the George Floyd protest shows. The recent publication of videos showing Boston police officers using force and talking candidly and harshly about protesters immediately prompted the police department and the district attorney's office to open investigations last Friday. The video clips, posted by online news outlet The Appeal, come from body cameras worn by officers deployed on May 31st to handle citywide protests over the death of George Floyd. So, your read between the lines moment number one. This incident happened on May 31st of 2020. It is now January 2021. So sufficient time has passed for public rage to have somewhat diffused over the incident and videos that originally went viral to have cooled off. And the body cam footage itself was never actually released by the police department. It was only obtained and then released by an attorney for somebody suing the city. They then leaked it out to The Appeal, who then leaked it out everywhere. Why? Because in the more than 6 months since this happened, the police department never bothered to release it. Even though the police department, the police themselves, the body cams they wear, and the footage that is shot by them are all the property of, quote, we the people. Yeah, but not you people. This video is a compilation from more than one body camera and from different locations in downtown Boston during the peaceful protests and the separate looting that followed. During the first 8 seconds, 2 views from the 2 different body cameras as an officer in riot gear is moving to clear what appears to be Tremont Street. He is approached by a woman with both of her arms over her head. The officer slams his baton into the woman's chest, knocking her flat on the back, and then steps over her and continues walking down the street. 6 seconds show what appears to be the same officer moving towards a man riding a scooter, whom he knocks to the ground with his baton and then continues walking forward. 2 seconds show both Boston police and state police moving forward in a line while confronted by protesters who are slowly backing up. A trooper looks to his right where a Boston police officer with body camera activated is located. At that point, the trooper turns forward and begins repeatedly jabbing a retreating protester in the stomach with the end of his baton. In another segment, the body camera worn by a Boston police officer is standing next to the MBTA Park Street station on Tremont Street. A protester is seen in the distance kicking a smoke can of gas back towards the officers. "Let's get the fucker. Let's get him," an officer says, as about 5 officers on bikes rush forward to grab the protester. Another officer can be heard shouting a counter order. "Fall back, fall back." The video ends as the officers appear to surround the protester. 2 seconds show another confrontation where an officer appears to swear at a woman and then throw her to the ground. Another protester is holding an American flag on a pole upside down. Yeah, that one really pisses off the cops, especially the ones who are former military. This next piece is where an officer discusses with another officer about how he drove through protesters and just bing, 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 and just drove on by.
Dude, I drove down street. There was an unmarked state police cruiser. They were all fucking around. So I overcommit. Like, so I got to fucking Tremont Park, and I was in the middle of the fucking. So then I had to fucking keep coming. Fucking running. I'm fucking hitting people with the car. Did you hear me? I was like, get the fucking.
Now, in case you were wondering, that's the other cop realizing that this fucking numbskull is like, yeah, so I'm in this fucking squad car, and then all of a sudden I see all these here protesters, and I'm like, fuck it, and I press on the pedal. And the other cop moves away because he understands that the body camera only activates when there's a person moving in front of it, because the cameras aren't going to record all 12 hours all the time when police are out on shift. And the cop realizes that his buddy is about to get them both fucking fired, and he tries to keep him from incriminating himself on a police body camera. Oh, wait till you see the attempted recovery. It's delicious.
This thing is on. This thing is...
Oh, no, I know. What I'm saying is, though, they were in front, like, just, like... Didn't hit anybody, and, like, just driving. It's all shit. My windows were closed. The shit was coming in the fucking way. Whether it was piss or, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Fucking crazy, dude. Push this crowd backwards.
Yeah, so I'm in my squad car, and I start running over these bricks, and then I'm like, hey, fuck you, bricks. Oh, wait, the camera's on? Hey, I didn't actually run over anybody. You must have misheard me, camera. Sorry. So that happened. Again, this is the sort of attitude that completely pervades police culture. It goes beyond a cop or a group of cops or a bad department somewhere. This is the overall mentality of the police culture. And the sad part is that this overall police culture is promoted not only by the roughly 1.1 million police officers in America and most of their family, but by the tens of millions of sycophants they have who back the blue and worship the thin blue line no matter what they do, and go out and spend $70 on a thin blue line flag so they can put it on the back of their Chevy pickup truck and then drive around and do donuts in the fucking cul-de-sac while their buddy Tim records it on their iPhone so they can put it on Parler and get 400 reshares from fellow patriots. This is the problem. This problem doesn't change just because the person in the White House changes. That's not a thing. So a week later, the Boston Globe files a follow-up on that initial story that once again only occurred because somebody sued the police and got access to the body camera footage and then released the footage to the public. The government did not release it. The police did not release it. A judge did not release it. If it wasn't for one citizen filing a suit, this footage would have never seen the light of day. The Boston police sergeant, mired in recent controversy over video footage showing him bragging about intentionally striking protesters with his vehicle, is a veteran supervisor with a troubled, complicated past on the police force, according to 2 people briefed on the matter. Clifton McHale, a 23-year-old Boston Police Department veteran with family ties to the department's upper ranks, was accused in 2005 of sexually assaulting an intoxicated woman while in uniform in a police vehicle and agreed to serve a 1-year unpaid suspension following an investigation. Hey, let's do another one of those quick read between the line things. Quote, police department veteran with family ties to the department's upper ranks. That means his dad or his grandfather or his uncle was a chief or a superintendent, which not only made him a legacy candidate when he entered the academy and then went on to the force, but it also means that that relative was high up enough that they have stroke with elected officials, city council members, mayors, state senators. That's how somebody with a troubled past who gets accused of sexually assaulting somebody while on the job gets a suspended sentence and a slap on the wrist, and then nothing else happens. I don't know about you, but at my job, if I get accused of sexually assaulting one of my coworkers, I don't get a year of suspended sentence and then get to keep my job. I don't know how many of you have a job like that, but if you do, I would absolutely love to hear about it. McHale hasn't been publicly identified by police or city officials, but two people briefed on the matter identified him as the sergeant in the now viral video, laughingly telling a colleague that he drove into protesters on a chaotic night in downtown Boston. The video footage, published December 18th by online news outlet The Appeal, came from an officer-worn body camera and was part of a trove of footage obtained by a local attorney representing several of people arrested in citywide protests on the night of May 31st. Once again, individual citizens and one lone local attorney. Not Obama, not Biden, not the Justice Department, not the governor's office. No. God forbid anybody in the political machine would actually give a shit about cops driving over people to the point that they would actually lift a finger to do something about it and possibly risk the ire of the all-powerful police union and all their sycophantic followers with their thin blue line flags and their Chevys on lift kits. Following the release of the video, the police department opened an investigation and placed a sergeant on administrative leave, though both the department and the mayor refused to say whether the sergeant in the video is the one on leave. Now, meanwhile, the regular John Doe, Jane Doe liberal protester out in the street carrying a sign who gets arrested for something like, I don't know, public indecency or blocking a roadway, they get their names and their mugshots instantly released to the public. But when police get accused of raping a drunk woman, we can't talk about that specific person. We can neither confirm nor deny if the person in the video is also the person who tried to sexually assault a drunk woman. The mayor, who defended the police department just last week amid mounting criticism, declined to discuss the matter, citing a pending investigation. Yeah, they have no problem discussing pending investigations when it's a bad person doing bad things. Oh, but when it's the police, hey, hold on. We need to thoroughly investigate before we say anything, you know? We just have to wait for the public anger to dissipate. And then maybe we'll, I don't know, investigate ourselves, and in another 6 months, we'll release our findings. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. Just calm down, everybody. It's cool. Clarity could take a while. The department has been criticized for the length of its internal probes, some of which have taken years to complete. McHale, a former Boston College hockey player, had been investigated 15 years ago for allegedly sexually assaulting a woman. McHale was a 32-year-old uniformed officer working a paid detail at the Purple Shamrock near Faneuil Hall on July 17th, 2005, when he offered a woman he'd met a ride to her hotel in his unmarked police cruiser, according to past media reports. But rather than driving the woman directly to the hotel, McHale stopped in an alleyway, according to an internal police investigation. The woman later told police she'd passed out, and when she came to, McHale was sexually assaulting her. Why? Because of course he was. McHale's attorney previously told the Associated Press that McHale denied any wrongdoing and was absolutely innocent. At the time, the Boston Globe reported that McHale had maintained any contact between himself and the woman was totally consensual. You know, because women who are passed out unconscious and drunk can totally consent to being raped by an asshole cop who thinks he's entitled to rape random women because he's a cop and his daddy was a cop. A year later, McHale agreed with the department to accept a 1-year unpaid suspension after an internal investigation concluded that he had engaged in, quote, inappropriate sexual relations with the highly intoxicated woman. Following the suspension, McHale, whose father is a former Boston Police Deputy Superintendent, returned to the department and was later promoted to sergeant. Gee, I kind of feel like I told you that shit was going to happen, and lo and behold. Since returning to the force, he appears to have worked as a sergeant with no record or any discipline, though the department declined to release details on his assignment and posting. Last year, according to city records, he earned $210,000, including $61,000 in overtime. Wow, The city, taxpayers, people pay him $200,000 a year so he can rape drunk women and run over protesters in a car. This is why people get angry about the continuation of the police state. And for the love of God, people, stop thinking that just because the weird old guy with the red tie is gone and the weird old guy with the blue tie is coming in, that somehow this changes. This is a top-down, bottom-up, all-around, full-on, global police culture problem. And it has to be attacked and it has to be snuffed out if any of this is ever going to change. So, yay, clap yourself on the back because Trump's going to throw a temper tantrum as he cries like a baby and leaves the White House. Yay, I'm glad he lost too. He was a pain in the ass. He irritated me. Yes, I solely voted for us to get him to shut the fuck up. Sorry, not sorry. But please stop thinking that Joe Biden in the White House or a Democratic Senate or the House or any other elected politician alongside a group of other elected politicians are going to somehow stem the tide of violence and entitlement that every single member of the police state drags around with them through your neighborhoods and around your kids. And until everybody gets on the same page on this, red and blue, left and right, it is never going to change. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to start organizing. My name is James. I'm from the internet and I'm out. Peace.